What can colonoscopies teach us about working out? Hey everyone, welcome to Mindful Mindsets, and today we are going to discuss a very fun topic, which is colonoscopies. So there's a couple surprising things about colonoscopies. People predict that colonoscopies will be painful, unpleasant, and something that they won't want to repeat, and it turns out that they're 100% right. So in general, we're actually quite good at predicting how we will like things, and it turns out that we are very accurate in our predictions of not wanting a 9-foot tube shoved up our ass. But there is one surprising finding about colonoscopies, which is that if they're made slightly longer, people actually rate the entire experience as better. They rate it as less unpleasant and less painful, and something that they would be more likely to do in the future when necessary than in other cases. Now, this is very surprising, but it only happens when the procedure is longer in a very specific way. So in the 90s, a team of researchers told some doctors to make the procedure 5 minutes longer and have the last 5 minutes be with the scope barely inserted, and tell the patients that they were just checking for something extra. In reality, they weren't doing anything. They just had the scope barely inserted and left it there for 5 minutes. Afterwards, they took it out and ended the procedure. In the other group, the doctors did exactly what they always had been doing. And in the experimental group, patients consistently rated the entire procedure as less unpleasant and less painful. Now, this is extremely paradoxical because all they were doing was adding another 5 minutes of unpleasantness to an already painful and unpleasant procedure. But it turns out that if we end 3 hours of pain with 5 minutes of unpleasantness, we remember the entire experience as less bad than if we just have 3 hours of pain. How it ends affects our entire perception of the whole process. So we can use this when we're doing chores or work. If we have a big to-do list, put something that's not that unpleasant last, and that way the entire experience won't seem as unpleasant. In fact, putting something easy first is also a good idea because that will minimize procrastination, and we also remember things at the beginning of experiences more than things in the middle. So that's known as the primacy and recency effect, which is the first and last things tend to outweigh the influence that we have on our perception. So things we do first and last, we remember much more. But I particularly have found this in workouts. So when we're working out, a lot of times we want to end very strong. And I think that's great if it's fun for you. If it's not fun, I don't recommend doing it because now you're ending it on a painful note and you're going to remember the entire workout as more difficult than it was. So what you can do is actually just tack on an extra workout. Work even harder than you were going to, but make it easy. So if you run 3 miles at 8 miles an hour, run another quarter at 6 miles an hour. You're just adding your workout. It's great. And that way, you'll remember the entire thing as easier than if you didn't run that extra quarter mile. So I've noticed this in different ways, and I think we should be very mindful about how we apply this. So this is entirely subjective, so obviously it's going to be different for different people. In fact, what we're doing is making it objectively more difficult or more painful in the case of the colonoscopy. So we're making our workouts objectively more difficult, but the point is to make them subjectively easier. So when I run outside in the summers, I love walking back. I enjoy it, and I think it probably makes me remember the experience as easier than it was because the last 3 miles, I'm just walking back and it's pleasant. But when the temperature drops down to 55 degrees, I don't remember it as more pleasant because now I'm walking back soaked, my nipples start chafing, I'm freezing, and it's very unpleasant. So we have to make sure that we're mindful of actually making the end of our workouts more pleasant than the middle of our workouts. Similarly, I love walking home from the gym. Usually I feel a great sense of pride. I have that endorphin rush or whatever it is that makes us happier after exercise. I mindfully engage with it. I smile more. I say hi to people on the sidewalks, and it is a great experience. That's true if it's above 40 degrees. If it's below that and I'm still sweating a bit even though I took a shower, it's very unpleasant. Now I have freezing sweat, I'm trying to stay warm, but at the same time my core is too hot because I haven't quite come down from my workout yet, and it's not pleasant. So we need to be mindful about how we approach this principle. But in general, if we can do easy and probably even better than easier, more fun tasks last, it will make the entire process seem easier and more fun, and then we're much more likely to repeat it. So tack on an extra end to your workout. Walk around the block. If you run home, walk around the block once. It'll make the entire workout seem easier, and you're just getting extra exercise anyway. But most importantly, be mindful of it, be creative, and try to be playful with it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.